Hey everybody, it's Father Richard Gonzalez here. One of the people mentioned within the Holy Bible, within the New Testament, is Saint Mary Magdalene. And I think we can all agree that she is a mysterious and difficult person for us to describe. For centuries, for example, her identity has been debated, that even today many Christians are left confused. So what do we know about Mary Magdalene within the context of the Gospels? And was she a reformed prostitute? The answer to these questions depends upon which view of Mary Magdalene you choose to believe. Within this video, I share an article from the St. Paul Center, which I have listed below in the description box, which helps to guide us in this question, and I also offer a few observations of my own. Many Eastern Church Fathers have noted that what we know of Mary Magdalene comes from the Gospel passages which mention her by name. For example, we know that Mary Magdalene had 7 demons cast out of her. She helped to fund Jesus' ministry. She remained with him at the foot of the cross and was the first person he publicly appeared to after his resurrection. In the Western Church, a different understanding of Mary began to develop in the earliest of days, such as with Tertullian, St. Augustine, and others in Western Christianity, who shared the same thread of a theme of Mary Magdalene, which was unchanged until the 20th century. According to the Western perspective, the name of Magdalene is simply another title for Mary, who was the sister of both Martha and Lazarus. Now, this Magdalene was understood by the Western Church to be the same sinful woman who anoints the feet of Jesus in the Gospel of Luke chapter 7. So that means that there are 3 female New Testament characters identified as one: Mary Magdalene, Mary the sister of Martha and Lazarus, and the anonymous sinful woman from Luke chapter 7. This was the position of many of the Church's greatest saints, mystics, and doctors, such as Gregory the Great, Thomas Aquinas, Catherine of Siena, Thomas More, Teresa of Avila, John of the Cross, and many others believed Mary Magdalene as the same person as Mary, the sister of Martha and Lazarus, and the same person as the anonymous sinful woman that we can find in Luke chapter 7. Behind me over my left shoulder, you can see a small print of a painting below the larger painting. The small copy of a painting by Georges de la Tour is titled The Repentant Magdalene, which was painted in circa 1635 to 1640. Mary Magdalene is shown seated at a table. A candle is the only source of light, but the light also carries a spiritual meaning as it surrounds a golden glow on Mary Magdalene's face and the objects on the table. The candlelight silhouettes Mary's left hand resting on a skull that is placed on a book, and the skull is reflected in a mirror. The skull and mirror are emblems of what is known as vanitas, signifying the transience of life. When I first saw the original painting at the National Gallery of Art in Washington, D.C., I knew I had to find a copy in the museum's gift shop. Thankfully, I found this one, which calms me and guides me in my daily prayers. Now, how did we begin to think that Mary Magdalene was a former prostitute? I mean, really, after all, the Gospels never describe Mary Magdalene as being a former prostitute. We do know that Jesus cleansed her 7 demons, but there is no way to know if these demons were the result of sexual vices. So where did the idea of the prostitute originate? The idea seems to have originated with Pope St. Gregory the Great in a homily he delivered at the Basilica of St. Clement in Rome in the year 591. Gregory shared St. Augustine's thought that Mary Magdalene is the unnamed woman described in Luke chapter 7. And it was on that particular scene that he suggested Mary Magdalene lived a life of prostitution before she met Jesus. Gregory's suggestion is based on a close reading of Luke chapter 7. Upon examining Luke chapter 7 verses 36 to 50, it seems obvious that the woman in question has earned a bad reputation. She is described as, quote, a sinful woman in the city, which is no compliment. She has the appearance of a bad woman of a low social status, whose mere presence is considered scandalous by the men gathered around Jesus. So identifying her as a prostitute makes sense with these details. Also publicly, not to the presence of family, the uncovering and letting down of one's hair was an extreme social taboo. This action is a sign that this woman was of an immoral lifestyle and accustomed to disregarding social norms. So I guess you could say that it is reasonable to think that the anonymous sinful woman of Luke chapter 7 may have been a prostitute. Then we could say Mary Magdalene was indeed a former prostitute. But biblical scholars continue to debate the identity of Mary Magdalene, and Catholics are not required to adopt any one view. But it is worth noting how the vision of Mary Magdalene as a biblical heroine with a, quote, scandalous past became enormously popular in the Middle Ages, leading to the widespread praise of this beautiful female saint. Whether Mary Magdalene is a sinner turned saint or not, does it really matter? Because from that very first Easter morning, by the divine grace of our Lord Jesus Christ, Mary Magdalene is then known as the Apostle of the Apostles and is a model of encouragement and inspiration for any of us sinners. And in your journey, my brothers and sisters, may God continue to bless you today, tomorrow, and always, and I'll see you real soon. If you enjoyed this YouTube video, consider giving it a thumbs up like, subscribing to my YouTube channel if you haven't already, and hitting the notification bell and the all tab so you are notified of all future videos on my YouTube channel.